Well, hello out there, planet Earth, and happy Friday. Welcome to March, everyone. Almost time for some March Madness for all you basketball fans out there. It's Friday, and it's always Friday with me, Stephen Fry, your SMB guy. ICYMI, or in case you missed it, SMB stands for Small and Medium Sized Business. For the last 20 years, I've been a consultant for SMBs, a voice and a sounding board for our business leaders, advocating wherever I can on their behalf, on their employees' behalf, all of the above. This is what I do. I believe very strongly in sharing stories, providing perspective, and creating connection. So, here on the show, every single Friday, right here on talkradio.nyc. You can find me here doing just that. I lend what's left of my mind and my voice to this radio show where I interview business leaders as well as the trusted advisors, the folks who steer them in the right direction. One thing that I've noticed consistently, folks, over the years is that some of the absolute best thought leadership around business, particularly small, medium-sized business, it actually happens on Friday, just about the time we feel that freedom of the weekend coming. However, we're also anxious to start the weekend, myself included. I can tell you, sure as hell, that's happening today. The crucial pearls of wisdom we come across, this clarity, it gets swept under the rug, it gets eased aside in favor of our fun activities and our freedom from the office. Again, here on the show, we take advantage of that weekend freedom and clarity, and we like to discuss some popular topics that are on the minds of our business leaders. Once again, the name of the show, not just a play on words, my name actually means free in German, so there is method behind the madness here, people. It's not just random. This weekend is my daughter's last game of the basketball season. I somehow became a coach for her new basketball team. We had a great time, some great wins. We have our last game this weekend, and she's totally into it, man. Over the years since I've been doing the show, only dance class and gymnastics and tumbling, but she's all about basketball now. Very serious about it, very competitive, very much into the teamwork aspect, so couldn't be happier. And a lot of that to talk about today with our special guest. But March Madness is coming. We're at March 1st. I went to the University of Maryland, so always a big topic of conversation around the house, filling out the brackets and watching the tournament. Some plenty of good TV and competitive games coming up, probably a couple of adult beverages as well. But it got me thinking. I wanted to talk a little bit today about sports analogies. I come up with a lot of them just in the business world and dealing with my SMB leaders as well as their employees. Plenty of sports analogies. Me, myself, I'm a golf and softball guy. That's where a lot of my analogies come from. But since I became the coach of my daughter's basketball team, I started making a couple more basketball analogies along the way. So what I wanted to talk with you guys a little bit about today and with my special guest is the idea of becoming a sharpshooter. Not the way that you might think about it right off the bat with a big rifle in your hand, but on the basketball court, becoming a sharpshooter. When you're in the business world, and this is something I talk about a lot of times the approach of the shotgun effect versus the sharpshooter effect, the sniper rifle type of effect. Very often in the business world, you'll see people just spraying all kinds of ideas and all kinds of product dumping right on their prospects and clients' faces instead of really getting to know who they are as a person and finding out what their needs, wants, and wish list is all about, and then firing a single shot between the eyes as far as what the people are looking for, really honing in on the conversation and what's important. It's something that continually drives me crazy when I see people kind of spray and pray as far as doing sales as a big time example, especially these days in the marketing world, just people trying to fish as cold as possible, seeing what kind of marketing and advertising hoo-ha they can throw on you. It's always about the people first. You guys know that with me, right? It's always about the people first. Can't do it with products. Talk is cheap. My last meeting yesterday was with 3 attorneys. Trust me, talk is cheap, but not with them, right? We're not paid by the word over here. The goal here on the show is we don't want this to just be talk. The goal here is let's use the insight you get on the business landscape and create more impact on Monday. That's it. Far too often, the businesses I deal with, they're focused on some type of product, some type of app, new technology that's going to change their life, revolutionize their business, and make them billionaires. It doesn't exist. Consistently, these products change every single day in everything that we do, personal or business, it doesn't matter. You got to have the right people around you. That's it. Focus on the process that's going to make you a success When you do that, the right products will be there when you need them. I promise you. Everything begins and ends with the people. The people, just like my special guest today, who I'm going to be talking with. Our guest is Coach Keith Drysdale. I'm gonna show this fancy picture of you, Keith, because most of the pictures I got are all about you on the basketball court. But he is the founder of Count the Bucket basketball training, mostly focused on the youth of America. So folks like my daughter, who's going to be 12 years old next month, she's like, perfect candidate for somebody to work with Keith. So Keith's the founder of Count the Bucket. I'm going to give you a quick intro about Keith because I love stories like this. So Keith, he established this shooting school in 2016. He's a kid from the Bronx that fell in love with the game of basketball at age 7. And how did he fall in love with it? The TV was on one day, and he heard something that immediately captivated his attention. What did he hear? He heard the swish sound of the net when the basketball went through the hoop. Was immediately intrigued by it. Right after that, Keith found himself at the park every day on the court, trying to make that sound happen as much as possible. Right when he turned 8, his mom entered him in a shooting contest, and he came in second, losing in the finals by 1 basket. Well, he took that a little personal, and then he started practicing even more, right? Keith attended Grace Dodge High School in the Bronx. He played junior and senior year. He averaged between 21, 24 points a game, which is pretty stellar for a high school athlete. I love it. After that, he enrolled in Long Island University at CW Post, played for the CW Post men's basketball team. Following graduation, Keith went to play basketball professionally under former WNBA coach Teresa Weatherspoon for the Westchester Phantoms from 2007 to 2009. Basketball is more than a sport to Keith, and this is huge, right? It's a community comprised of people on a team that have different skills and passion for the game. And then they build that team's opportunity to really take you to the promised land, to take you to the winner's circle. In 2019, Coach Keith earned a youth development certified USA Basketball Gold Coach license. The USA Basketball Gold Coach license enhances the previous NCAA program that provides more value to coaches and event operators. The USA Basketball Gold Coach license program provides basketball education and training to coaches while ensuring the safety of young people in the sport. Coach Keith loves to specialize in increasing your shooting percentage, which starts out with footwork and balance. The program will accelerate your skill set as a better player, guaranteed. Most importantly, to build young athletes and prep them with taking accountability on the court and off the court as well. I had to get all of that out because I love all of this. This is one of my most fun intros I've read in a while, right? I met up with Keith last week and thought it was a very timely conversation since it's the last weekend with my daughter's basketball team. I thought I could also possibly pick up some last minute coaching tips. No pressure, Keith. But we're going to talk a little bit about movies, TV, and music, just like we always do. Joining us this morning in between his court appearances, that's the basketball court, not the court of law. Keith, welcome to Always Friday, brother. Thanks for coming to rap with me today.
Stephen, thank you for having me. And first, I'd like to, just thank God for this opportunity. I mean, I've been so blessed, so I definitely got to put that out there. But it's a pleasure to be here, man, and share my story, to share the experience of what basketball has done for me in my life.
I'm so excited for this. I'm like, I could hardly contain myself right now. And I even put on my old Patrick Ewing jersey, which is like the last one I bought like 30 years ago. But Keith, what you do is so much more than basketball, and I know you know that, and I know we're going to talk about it today. There are life lessons to impart. There are also lots of business concepts to pick up here, and I know you could speak to that from some of your travels along the way. But I know I gave everybody a fun taste of your story, but I want you to share with the folks listening out there a little bit of the founder's journey. Tell everyone exactly really how you got where you are today. Give us the spots that I left out.
First, I guess it was just something that was already instilled. It was already supposed to be, or I should say, a creation was already meant for me to put out there. So all that's happening now.
Not to interrupt you, but my folks, I'm a Jewish guy, right? So the Hebrew people, we like to say it was beshert. It was meant to be.
That's right? Exactly right. That's exactly right. So I was listening to a gentleman yesterday that played football and retired. I forget his name, but he just he gave everything to God, and as far as his talents, he's saying, man, I play football and I played to the best of my ability, and I received all these blessings to be able to give back and perform for the fans and make a living out of it. He's like, football, and I'm like, that's exactly what the message is. It's like, I fell in love with the game at age 8, hearing that net on TV, watching the Knicks, and I said, man, that was kind of pretty. Why exactly the Knicks? Patrick Ewing and the Derek Harpers and the John Starks and the Anthony Masons and the Charles Oakleys, Charles Smith. I love you too. Tough years, right? But
Yeah, man.
but Greg Anthony too. Much love. But during that time, it was different. Basketball was different, but just the atmosphere alone, and even being there recently when they're good and the bad, I wanted to be part of that. There was nothing else that I wanted at that time, and I fell in love with it. I had my bike when I was younger. There was a park that was near me. I used to just leave the house, man. I got in trouble. Trust me, and maybe what I am today, but I knew where I was going. If I wasn't home or if nobody can get me, they know where to find me. I was at the park getting some shots up. But not only just shooting, the funny thing is I was actually working on net shots, trying to get that swish. So from an early age, I tried to really, get the technique, what that technique is. I didn't have a trainer, so I had to, keep shooting it. I used to shoot 2 hands, form was all wrong, but eventually those shots just kept falling because I got the reps in. So, it's been part of my life, since age 8. Kept playing, and the funny thing is, we when we get competitive, we meet others that are competitive. It makes us better. It gets us stronger, not only physically but mentally. So it was always that edge, and don't get me wrong, I wanted to win. You know what I mean? So
Hell
yeah,
yeah.
coming in second wasn't an option at that
No
time,
way.
especially my first ever shooting tournament. And I said, from then on, I'm never going to come in second. But that was my drive, basically, to just keep getting better. There probably wasn't a day that went by that I didn't get shots up. Rain, snow, sleet, hail. You can ask anybody that you come across with about me. Trying to get better in the game. I used to come out in the snow. It could be below 30 in the 20s.
Oh, man.
Then, snow on the ground. I got the shovel. I'm pushing it, hands freezing, coming in. I had a bright idea to try to wash my hands. It popped up to about 2 of these one time, and I said, all right, it'll be fine if I can't feel my hands, you know what I mean? But I was actually mad at not the pain. I was mad that I couldn't get shots up, so I had to figure out a different method. Anyway, but that was the passion, the drive I had about it. My main vision was just being on that court one day, whether it was on the court of the Knicks, or whatever. But I just wanted that feeling, and I was able to get that feeling soon. Just working to get better, and don't let anybody fool you. At any level, you're always going to run into challenges. Especially when you're a great. The devil will try to knock you off your course. So you got to keep that course. You got to stay mentally strong to keep going and keep fighting, no matter at what level. It'll get you to where your destination will be if you focus and work hard at it.
Well, we're definitely going to dive into the method behind the madness after we come back from this break. But just real quick with you, the whole idea behind talkradio.nyc is uplift, educate, and empower. And I believe you and I spoke about this the other day, but I'm a 5'8", 5'9" on my most generous stretched out day, white Jewish guy. Like, my dad's about the same height as me. He's turning 77 in 3 weeks, right? He's a retired teacher. He taught in Brooklyn for 30 years and Staten Island for another 5. But his after school activity, he used to run the after school basketball center. And he taught a couple of NBA guys. The most popular one I remember is Jerry Reynolds from the Orlando Magic back in the day, if you remember him. But it's just I shot a lot of balls in the driveway with my dad growing up and everything. And the whole idea of working with youth, which again I've been doing with my daughter as of late. So it's what you do with Count the Bucket. The world needs better coaching in general, but to really get it ingrained early on, even if some of it is making Instagram and YouTube videos like the way you do these days, which is stellar stuff. I love it. Yeah, but just getting the right kind of training in early and developing the character piece along with the skills is so huge to me. And I love that that's a part of your mantra and really like kind of focusing in on the people first, as well as, the skills and the hard skills, the soft skills as well once it gets on the basketball court. So I love all of that. I can't wait to talk to you more about it. We got to take this break. We'll be right back with Coach Keith Drysdale. He's the founder of Count the Bucket. Stay with us.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a high-achieving, growth-oriented leader? Are you interested in developing your authentic leadership while creating a healthy, inclusive workplace? Hi, I'm Dr. Mira Brancu, host of The Hard Skills on talkradio.nyc at 5 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays, where we discuss how leaders develop the hard skills needed to make a greater impact. We interview experts, have live coaching, and tackle these challenges. Listen to The Hard Skills on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a business owner? Do you want to be a business owner? Do you work with business owners? Hi, I'm Stephen Fry, your small and medium-sized business or SMB guy, and I'm the host of the new show, Always Friday. While I love to have fun on my show, we take those Friday feelings of freedom and clarity to discuss popular topics on the minds of SMBs today. Please join me and my various special guests on Friday at 11 a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC. Uplift, educate, empower.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Friday. It's always Friday. And it's me, Stephen Fry, your SMB guy. We are chatting with Coach Keith Drysdale. He's the founder of Count the Bucket Basketball, teaching people how to be better shooters. And that's what we're trying to talk about here today, becoming a sharpshooter, not just on the court, but also in the world of business and even in your personal life too, really getting to know the people, learning what makes them tick, and having a pointed conversation where it makes sense, right? Instead of doing that shotgun effect and spray and pray that you're going to end up in the right spot when you're talking with people. Keith, before we kick this off really into the method behind the madness here, I like to make a habit of sitting out by my fire pit for a moment. This is one of my nicer sunsets as of late, and just kicking around a couple of thoughts real quick. So, we were talking at the end of the last segment just briefly about the education part of this and dealing with America's youth and really getting some good core concepts and values into their way of being, right? Stuff that's translatable on the court and off the court, right? And I saw this on your on your Instagram page, I believe it was. This was a Kobe Bryant little piece of wisdom, right? On youth coaches, where it was talking about, what was it? Only 30% of youth are really taught the necessary skills, like when they're being groomed to, for sports or for life, really, I feel like at this point. At 30%, there's a lot of freaking people out there, right? Like that's almost a crime. And, it's not just about the hard skills on the basketball court. Like it's about a lot of times the concept of teamwork, right? Like my daughter, right? So again, this weekend is going to be my daughter's last game for this basketball season. It's her first time out. She's having a blast. She loves it. Most of the time she's in dance class, right? And she dance competitions. She's in 7 different dance routines. She goes to the dance school 5 days a week. I'm nauseous from driving back and forth to the dance parking lot, right? And while you might be in a company of like 10, 15, 20 people, depending on the 7 different routines she's in, a lot of times it's really an independent effort. It's a choreographed effort where everyone's got to look the same and everything. but it's really all about how the person's feeling individually. If somebody falls and breaks their ankle, it's, messes everything up, but it's an individual kind of contribution. The idea of her being on the court and having to work with a team as a team and develop a lot of those concepts has been kind of invaluable in a number of ways. And I think that's a lot of what goes on here with some of the things that you end up talking about. And I saw this on your Instagram too, as far as the idea of selfless service, right? Doing something that's larger than you, right? And that's when you're going into a basketball game. And this is something I see with my girls that I'm coaching right now. My daughter, again, I'm 5'8", a generous 5'9". Sometimes my wife is barely 5 feet tall. My daughter is not going to be the tallest girl on the court. I'm just calling it like it is. But it's like she listens, right? And she's coachable. And being coachable is so important. There's some girls that go out on the court that are 2 heads, maybe 3 heads taller than her, that I'm like, stay down low, stay on the block, stay by the hoop, put your hands up. You're going to get a pass easier than all these girls. And they can't listen. They just aren't interested. So, this is the method part of the show, Keith. This is where we talk about the science behind what you do, right? And, I know you have your own kind of laboratory on the basketball court for the way that you do all of this, but, this is where we like to talk about exactly what you do, exactly how you do it, and exactly how you go to market for it, which, one of my fun things that I always like to interject here, I met you at a networking group last week that Tommy D, Philanthropy and Focus, on right before me. He's like, yo, you got to come meet some of these people. They're awesome. And he was right. I met you there. You were awesome. So you got to talk a little bit about the method behind your madness. Lay it on us, brother.
Method to the madness is it's funny. Here, my mom, God bless her, she was able to get me to that tournament, which it all started from there. And and they say you always got to lose in order to win. You always got to fail to be successful.
Absolutely.
So the method to the madness is being unique. What you see nowadays is actually really tough and in comparison to what we see in social media. We try to compare ourselves to a lot of different things. We go on, oh, it has to look like this. It has to look like that. Oh, my form is wrong. Oh, it's not out there. It's not going to look right. Oh, I might make a mistake. Here's the thing. You got to perfect things your own way. And as we said in the beginning, right, everything is already created for you. You're already, God knows what your light is going to be. So you just got to perfect it. You work hard at it, it'll work out for you. So don't compare it to anybody else. You are not anybody else. You're Stephen Frey. I'm Keith Dreiser. I could be the best Keith Dreiser that I can be in what I do. So basically, it's to just let everyone figure themselves out. Don't try to be as good. If there's something that you're not, if you're not 6 feet tall, be the best six foot guard that you can be. What is your goal and what do you specialize in, and try to perfect that. Don't try to do step back threes if you're not a shooter like that. Let's work on the basic concepts and work your way out. If you're perfect at ball handling, try to facilitate more. You have a lot of guys that are trying to do too much. Less is more. Focus on the basics and fundamentals that rely on your game, or your game relies on, because what happens is your confidence is not there when you try to go on the court. You're unsure of yourselves, and that's where the mental part comes in. That's what I also teach within the game.
Yes.
And
yes.
that's what makes Count the Bucket unique, because again, another gentleman another coach I was listening to saying, listen, you can always, if you're thinking about the money first in this game, it's not going to work out for you.
Money's a product to me, brother. As I always think about it, if you're thinking about money, that has nothing to do with the people and nothing to do with the process.
They're going to remember how you affected their lives. Being a father figure, I've had conversations where, the best feeling in the world is saying, Keith, I feel different. I've been sober. Like, I have older kids that, have friends that may mislead them. And that's another thing that we could talk about as far as peer pressure. People that have a vision, people that have a light, passion, they focus on, when we see that light and we try to go to that goal, we will be pulled away. And you know what? That's just, again, the enemies try to take you away from your passion, your goals, and your dreams. And when you have that light, it's a tougher road. So I also teach that. And I've been privileged enough to have the knowledge of saying, hey, the harder you work, the harder it's going to be tougher for you, because you're going to have more people, especially when you get to the NBA. Hey, you're gonna have guys that are seeing you as a threat. When people see you as a threat, it's a great thing. It's not going to be easy. You think someone's going to say, "All right, he's the best. Here you go." No, it's not. They are going to try to tear you down. So you got to keep at it. Look at LeBron. Look at LeBron. I respect LeBron so much. Hey, listen, I'll take the critics all day. He ain't Jordan, but what he's doing. Listen, I'm sorry, but I witnessed it. I witnessed greatness.
Yeah, but you said something. You said something so important there, man. Like it relates to the business world so much. Like where people are going to be intimidated by you. It's like, look, that happens all the time. Like where somebody comes along that has a cool set of skills, might be likable by all their peers and everything, and people in the professional world, especially in corporate America, like they'll see it as a threat, and it might actually affect their behavior. But it's just like it's again, the harder you work, whether it's business life or it's personal life or it's your hobbies, your passions, your sports, like people might see you as a threat, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not something that should throw you off if people see you as a threat and be like, "You're good, you should. I've been working on this, man. I'm ready to ball."
That's it. It's something I implore. So again, we can have that first segment, which a lot of people don't even see. That's important. Hey, get some cones. Let's start dribbling. Let's start having. Okay, that was cool, Ma. You can go anywhere down the streets. I go to a bodega in the city, in New York. You go to any bodega for a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich. But what's different about that one 2 blocks around the corner with that sandwich? I don't know. That one had like extra peppers, or the ketchup tastes a little bit different. The eggs a little bit fluffier. That toast was just, nice and toasty, but a little fluffy, with that cheese just melting right on that layer. And I don't know who chooses bacon or turkey bacon, but there's just something about that flavor that I want to go to that spot. They want to come to you and feel like I can be better every time they come in that gym, and get to that goal, set goals. We'll just come in the gym and just, go through the motions. What are you working on? How we can get better the next day? And I think it's so important because you build relationships and you build a character with that person. And, they could have ADD, they could have different things. Like I ask them first, what can we do to make you a better person? And let's talk about, forget about basketball. What makes you tick? All of those things. You get close to them, you can't handle friends and other things. And I said, basketball, I went to college and as a walk-on at LIU, I didn't have any friends. I actually fought in practice, but they knew that where did this guy come from? He can't take my spot. And that's what made me greater because it made me tougher to set up for the real world. And that's what I try to instill in my guys. Like every day is not going to be sunshine and nice waves hitting the beach. Sometimes you're going to have that storm and you got to get off that surfboard and ride the waves and get ready for the ride. It's a great.
So you're making Logan the engineer hungry, and me too. The quickest way to my heart is food. But when you I'm right there with you, man. I'm craving that breakfast sandwich right now, actually. But it's people think of it in terms of the product. This place has the best sandwiches. It's like. You know why this place has the best sandwiches? Like I think about there's a bodega right by my house too. It's a half mile away. The people there are awesome who took over the operation. They have a kick-ass process for getting exactly what people want on the sandwiches that they make. Yeah, dude, that's why I focus on that stuff. That's why it's there, man. That's what's going on. We got to take this quick break, but we will be right back with Coach Keith Drysdale. He's the founder of Count the Bucket, basketball coaching and training for America's youth. Stay with us.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host a program, Philanthropy in Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on talkradio.nyc.
Were you an essential worker during the pandemic? If you needed to learn stages of epilepsy, did you depend on advocates? Did you use new innovations to cope with mental and neurological issues? Maintaining high quality of life and keeping good mental health are what we all strive for. I'm Frank R. Harrison, host of Frank About Health, and each week top healthcare influencers, professionals, and innovators answer these questions and more. Stay tuned on Thursdays at 5 p.m. on talkradio.nyc, and I will continue to be frank about health with all of you.
Are you a business owner? Do you want to be a business owner? Do you work with business owners? Hi, I'm Stephen Fry, your small and medium-sized business or SMB guy, and I'm the host of the new show, Always Friday. While I love to have fun on my show, we take those Friday feelings of freedom and clarity to discuss popular topics on the minds of SMBs today. Please join me and my various special guests on Friday at 11 a.m. on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Welcome back to Always Friday with me, Stephen Fry, your SMB guy. Not just me, we are chatting with my new buddy, Coach Keith Drysdale. He's the founder of Count the Bucket. Again, he trains America's youth how to be kick-ass shooters, man, sharpshooters. Becoming a sharpshooter, not just for folks on the basketball court, for folks in everyday life, but especially in the SMB world and in the business world in general. Having pointed, targeted conversations, trying to get the best rapport going with the folks around you as well. Really about the people first, executing a good process together. That's what I talk about on a regular basis. Keith, Coach Keith, I feel like I can't just call you Keith. It's Coach Keith. So Coach Keith, this is the madness part of the show. And it's not just about March Madness, which again, I'm a big fan of being a Maryland guy. It's about the artistic observational part of what you do, the stories that you have from the field. No subject too taboo, anything goes. I mean, obviously, if it's totally something crazy, you don't want to embarrass the person. You don't have to compromise client confidentiality and things like that. But I have no doubt that you have some fun stories with bad kids, good kids, kids that don't listen, kids that have ADD. I mean, I have ADD, like most of the planet does at this point. So it's definitely in some ways it could be a massive advantage, but some ways it could also be a curse. But we want to hear the stories that you have from the field. And I want to kick this off with you by just throwing something out there that was fascinating to me, and I'd love to meet this guy. You've done a couple of other podcast appearances, which obviously you're going to have the most fun on mine. There's no way around that. But this Hey Coach podcast that you did, this guy that did this with you, so it's all about business concepts as seen like really from the sports sidelines. And I love that idea, man. That's basically what we're talking about right now. So, Coach Keith, give us a bunch of stories you have from the field. Give us a little bit of your travels. Let us hear a little bit about some of the things you've seen and what it means.
I mean, I'd say I've seen it all. I would just lay out parents.
That's a great place to start, bro.
You gotta love the parents, and we always want to say, hey, what level of basketball did you get to? And there's nothing, like I said, the offending of anyone, that's my job, right? Anyone that's an expertise in something, it's more of an expertise like me reading a book of basketball and becoming a master of basketball. I have a doctorate in basketball because I've passed the test of whatever they made. Maybe I wanted to be a ref or something like that. But the experience is night and day. Someone can be a novice in basketball when it comes to actually being a player, on the ball player, especially as a scorer, it's a totally different battlefield. And you got to understand those emotions. You got to understand those segments. Sometimes, we see differently than what the parents may see. And I mean, I get all the emails, and again, the kids that may not, take criticism or take someone else that's better than them. Likely, they get in their realm, they get probably emotional, or they lose their confidence. So I sit the parents aside and let them know, hey, these are the things that I see. This is what we can work on. Hey, I see a problem. I'm the solution. Let's work on it. But he is not Jordan. He's not going to come out and score 30 points on the court. Hey, I know it's your son and daughter. I would love them very much as well. But this is what I see. That person might be better. I got to keep the best five on the floor. That's going to give me the most effective work. And that's going to help us win. You love your son and daughter, but right now we got to work on their game.
And then we have some of the other ones like that, because I totally could identify with where you're coming from with the parents. And then we have the parents that think their kids can do no wrong no matter what. And I think of my really tall players that they feel like they still have to bring the ball up for some reason. And I've said that they feel like they still need to inbound the ball for some reason. I'm just like, dude, come here. Like, I don't ever want to see you do that again. It's like, wait right by the hoop with your hands up like this, move around back and forth a little bit, and wait for the ball to come to you.
Movement.
Ball
screen, screen away, keep moving, short corner, high screen, all those things. And I usually push 3-on-3 basketball because it allows you to move. But what are we doing? We're waiting on the top of the key for the ball for somebody to pass the ball while the guy's just chilling in the passing lane. Nothing is going to happen. And that is bad basketball. So let's get to that quick story. I'll throw it out there. Great guy, Brian Williams. I helped out with his AAU with the girls back during the pandemic. So I start out just to help out. We went to Spooky Nook, probably aware of Spooky Nook out there, forward. Hey, listen, let's start out 4-2, right? One of the taller girls, a little bit talented. She can shoot the ball, but still in her shell. So one game we're playing these girls from Philly, Steven, dude, they were all dogs, right? So they came in, hands clapping, the hands clapping. They probably seen these, girls or the urban area, uptown, Westchester. They're like, yeah, it's time to eat today. So I'm preparing the girls. Hey, we're going through the layup line a little bit, casual and stuff like that. I was like, okay, we got a game to play. They don't look like they playing. So like the first 3 possessions, they don't even get past 3/4 court, right?
Mm-hmm,
they get turnovers and then they set up their press and then we're up 10 before you know it. Had to make a switch. And one of the girls, I think, had the ball in their hand on the inbound. I swear to you, the girl came up to her, barked and slapped the ground, and she literally just let the ball go. She grabbed the ball and laid the ball up. Dude, I had to do it. I said, hey, it was nice of you to come out today, but I think I'm going to have to put somebody else in. I may have played it for like a couple more minutes for that game, but hey, some of them didn't have that experience. So I get a call from the director after the game. I believe the father was there, but we had a quick conversation. And I said, hey, sometimes we got to see that, competition to really see what we're made of. I get a call from the director. Hey, you might get a call from this mom. I said, what mom? He was like, well, Katie's mom. I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. It's like, oh, she's a little rough on the edges, man. Just be careful. I'm like, okay. I mean, we can talk about it. No problem. First of all, I'm not scared to talk about parents because, again, I'm confident being in that level. I know what I see. So I get a call the next day, actually, 24-hour rule after the game, the deal. Get a call and, first starts out, hey, Keith, how's it going? What the fuck is going on? What my God? And just
attack!
Like this, just attack, right? And I believe in emotional responses. I think we had a discussion about that.
We sure as hell did, yeah.
Not responding emotionally, but not in attack mode, but in response mode. We sit and let the person vent out instead of reacting to the question. We respond.
Yep.
So I sat down and I said calmly, I said, I appreciate your concern, but if you'd like to have this conversation once you're calm, we can do that. And don't ever curse at me again. Thank you. Would you like to start over and have this conversation so we can really talk about basketball? Or do you need a time to get out?
You need a timeout.
A timeout. I got about a few of those. You need one? How many? 30 or 4? Let me know. 30 or 4. Let me know. Holding me to change. And this was really my first crazy experience with a high level. This was a high level of AAU basketball where a lot of these girls are getting recruited. And for me, like I said, I knew what my journey was to get to that level, even from playing high school and being one of the top guards in the league. When you get to college, you're just regular one of the bunch. A lot of guys can shoot the ball. A lot of guys are athletic. So I had to take that jump. So a lot of these players don't understand what that jump is because why? They're getting catered. They're expecting them to play because it's a participation sport until you see the real ballers, huh? And then all of a sudden they see, you know, they're scared of their own shadow when it comes to like somebody barking at you and slapping the ground. These people breathe, talk, sleep, everything basketball. And if you're not there, I'm telling you, it's gonna be tough for you. So that was my experience, and that was what changed from that on to prepare kids. Like, listen, it ain't gonna be all green on the side of the road once you get into this game.
Yeah, no way. I love the conditioned response thing, brother. And we talked about it a little bit the other day. So one of the stories I have from the last couple of months of coaching, like some of the parents, like not only, you know, they get heated and everything, some of them are like bean counters, right? Like we have times of the halves, like where we have to put subs in, right? So whoever's on the bench, they go in, couple come out. They, you know, that's how it is. So the bean counter parents, some of them be like, well, why'd you play this kid 1 minute more than my kid and whatever? And they come over to me like, and thank the Lord. Like I was coaching with a buddy of mine who coaches like every girl's high school sport under the sun, right? So like he wasn't going to coach the team. Like I ended up coaching just to make sure that like I was somebody who could be there all the time because he's got a lot of other teams, and he ended up sticking around a bunch and just a great coach and a great guy. And this particular parent, counting the particular minutes, like came over to my buddy, the other coach, and started unloading on him.
Right
like,
after the game? Right after
like,
the game?
Right after the game, started unloading on him. And he looked straight over and said, yeah, I'm not having this conversation. I'll see you next game.
Zero tolerance for that. Zero tolerance. It's bad. It's bad for basketball. Super bad for basketball.
Very bad.
You know? So I always like to say, you know, we got to hold everyone accountable for what we do. Right. And if we see something, obviously, if there's I like to get favoritism out of there. Favoritism should not be a part of sports. You know, it depends on that conversation. If you don't like something, then I always say to everyone, I don't have side conversations unless there's something personal you want to talk about. Everyone earns their spot. Everyone has to put it. You know, if you have a problem, you don't like it. If you don't like being on the bench, one solution. Work harder and fix it. Don't sit there, you know, earn it. That guy wants it more. It's just how the world
don't throw up your hands in disgust, which is a lot of times, especially with the girls that I'm, you know, it's if a lot of them get frustrated. It's like, listen, that's like doing things that are worthwhile can be absolutely frustrating. And the failure piece, like you said before, that's how you learn your best lessons. Like whoever said, I think it was your mom who said that. She's right, man. Like whoever told you that, 100% right. Absolutely. So I'll leave you with this thought, and only because it'll be yet another play on words for my always FreyDay and Fry last name and everything. So I moved back to the town that I grew up in, right? And have been here with my family and my kids for 10 years now, which is like, you know, it was never really the intention. I always wanted to change the scenery, but it's been, you know, it has a blessing and a curse to it, but it's been mostly overwhelmingly a blessing, right? And one of the funniest parts of it is, you know, a bunch of my friends from back in the day, like some of them are still around, made whole new groups of friends. So there's a lot of big, you know, community, camaraderie, family friendly feeling around, right?
Yeah.
So my buddy Matt, he's the one who is running the basketball league for the recreational basketball squad right now. And as luck would have it, his last name is Burger. His last name's Burger. My last name's Fry, right?
So, here, man. Big cheese burgers.
so they keep asking us when they're doing the books for the games. We're like, what are the team names? Like Burger versus Fry. Let's go. That's it. That's how we're gonna do it. But you know, just the feeling in the room, right? You know, like again, like I'm buddies with Logan says just need someone named Nugget and we complete the meal. We're good. It's actually one of my daughter's friends is nicknamed Nugget. That's pretty funny.
Oh, that's great.
But like just like everybody, like, you know, all friends in the room. Like sometimes we switch up the teams and everything. When one person shoots on one team and makes it, we're cheering for them, even if it's for the other team, right? They pop a shot, they miss their last 5. We're cheering for them.
It's a fact.
Overwhelming feeling of positivity, right? Like there's in business and in personal and in your game, like whatever your game is, as much as you can keep it positive, like represent the positive. It's just again, sportsmanship wise, but to your own teammates, to the other team, it's the output, the product of that is beautiful. That's how I feel about it. I have no room for this negativity and the heated discussions on the court.
We missed the concept a lot of people miss the concept. Not everybody's making it to college. Not everybody's making it to the league. Not everybody's going to see that level. So while you having an experience, enjoy it. Enjoy it as much as possible. Allow a coach that actually loves it, because they're, how it is. You got a lot of soccer moms, soccer dads that coach basketball. Not a not a suggestion for everyone, but at the same time, if they understand the concept of team basketball, you can make it fun. You can create an experience for them, and they can always recollect back. You can develop that relationship. But if it's, it's a little bit different for me for coaches that yell and scream. If you're yelling and screaming, you're just making noise. You're not,
nobody hears that.
Nobody hears anything. It just sounds like noise.
We got to take this quick break before we wrap up here, Coach Keith. Yeah. But I do want to talk to you more about your buddy. What's his name? Israel. He's the one who does the conversations from the humidor.
That's correct.
You're on some cool podcast. Again, it's not going to be as fun as mine. Let's face it. But these other podcasts that you do, conversations from the humidor. It's like, I might be choking on cigar smoke while I'm talking, but it sounds kind of fun.
Well, yeah, we that's a segment we got to bring back, but definitely, discussing, other, serious issues surrounding the sports, real life, segments. And we touched on some great topics, but yeah, this is just something that everyone should know, and going through that field, that corporate life, and then bringing it back to basketball it's a realm that not everybody, again, is going to experience, but then takes the athlete that may not have that high level experience. How do they take that and make it something of, a lifestyle after the game, after their time on the court is over?
Hell yeah. We got to take this break, brother. We'll be right back with Coach Keith Drysdale. He's the founder of Count the Bucket. Stay with us, everybody.
Are you a high-achieving, growth-oriented leader? Are you interested in developing your authentic leadership while creating a healthy, inclusive workplace? Hi, I'm Dr. Mira Broncu, host of The Hard Skills on talkradio.nyc at 5 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays, where we discuss how leaders develop the hard skills needed to make a greater impact. We interview experts, have live coaching, and tackle these challenges. Listen to The Hard Skills on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc.
Hey everybody, it's Tommy D, the nonprofit sector connector, coming at you from my attic. Each week here on talkradio.nyc, I host a program, Philanthropy in Focus. Nonprofits impact us each and every day, and it's my focus to help them amplify their message and tell their story. Listen each week at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on talkradio.nyc.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays, 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
You're listening to Talk Radio NYC at www.talkradio.nyc. Now broadcasting 24 hours a day.
Welcome back to Always Friday with me, Stephen Fry, your SMB guy. We are chatting with Coach Keith Drysdale. He is the founder of Count the Bucket, basketball training, coaching for America's youth. Man, I really hope we have the opportunity to bring you over to my daughter's team. It's again, like this weekend's the last game. But next season, before next season starts, I don't care. Come down tomorrow, man. Let's come hang at the basketball game with them.
Shoot me the info, man. I'm with it. Let's make it happen.
I'll definitely. We'll grab a cocktail afterwards. We'll be all good, man. Celebrate the weekend together.
I'm game.
Coach Keith, this is the message part of the show. When I started this 3.5 years ago during the pandemic, little tagline associated with it that really hasn't changed over time says from weekend insight to Monday impact. That's what we're all about. We want to give people some thoughts to remember over the weekend while they're enjoying their cocktails. I told you, my wife and I drink martinis every Friday night. So it's just something that works, man. I don't mess with what works over the last handful of years, right? So everyone's going to get loose. They're going to forget what they dealt with over the week. They're gonna get that clarity the rest of the day. They're gonna clear their desk. They're gonna execute, and then they're gonna forget all about it when they get loaded this weekend. But what can we give them as far as tidbits, sound bites to remember, so that they can take the appropriate action come Monday morning for themselves, for their skills, for their business, and for their youth sports, which you can be an integral part of.
My favorite, one of my favorites, after the battle is the reward. After the battle is the reward. One of them.
Yeah.
Another one is fear. Fear is a cancer.
Yes.
That's tough. I know it sounds crazy. I would probably reword it.
Not at all.
Not at all. Fear is it's not real. It's something that's made up. It's
a voice in your head chirping like this.
It destroys you. It destroys your confidence, your movement. And this is, again, not even with basketball. And this takes an understanding of, and on the spiritual level, just having the right people around you to teach you these things. And I wish I could, the goal is to share with as many people that come across my path. Yeah. And understanding that the simple knowledge of what it takes to be great. God wants all of us to be great. We're going to have enemies that wants to keep us down and see us not succeed if we manifest that. But we want to make sure that we get that message across that fear is only in the brain and continue to strive for greatness no matter what. We're all here to be great. Depends on what we utilize our gifts for. That's why we're here. So, that's the kicker, and how I start out with why and what I do and to perfect it. And anyone that comes, to Count the Bucket to ask for advice or how to get better, I just say, listen, what is your goal? And remove anything negative that's going to block you from that path and utilize the life. And then, you'll just start to see the manifestation of greatness and getting to your goals. And then, of course, the nice tip of the dessert there is the confidence. The confidence will build because you're doing it over and over again, and you have a method, you have a routine. And to top it off, how about this, Mike? I think I can't steal Mike Tyson's quote. I don't want that beef. Do something, do what you love, and do it even when you don't feel like doing it, but do it anyway. Do it. Do things that you, even when you hate to do it, but still do it like you love it. And you're going to separate yourself from your sound. Sometimes we get up, I don't feel like doing it today. Or that next person that feels like they don't want to do it, they are going to do it anyway. And then each time they do that, they're going to basically keep getting to that level because they say, you know what, I'm not feeling it today, but I'm still going to do it because I want greatness. I'm going to remove all the fear in my brain and get to that next level.
I thought you were going to go the everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth type of discussion from Mike Tyson.
Well, yeah, that too. That definitely too.
So best way to get in touch with you, it's info@countthebuckets.net. Is it Count the Buckets or Count the Bucket?
So Count the Buckets. So I wanted to leave it plural, not singular.
I love that idea. It's like the company's called Count the Bucket, but it's like you got to have more than one bucket. That makes complete sense. One bucket.
That's right. So Count the Buckets, and I'm not gonna. Hey, when I was looking up the domain name, they only gave me Count the Buckets, and Count the Bucket wasn't available. So you know how that goes. That's only for you to. Oh, whoops. Well, yeah, it's on the show. So yeah, so Count the Buckets was available. So Count the Bucket, they wanted me to play a little. I was like, nah, Count the Buckets. Yeah, it sounds like a bit of a ring. So I kept Count the Buckets and went with that. So yeah, Count the Bucket basketball. It's on my IG. I actually just posted up YouTube on my shooting. I actually hit a lot more in a row on that last segment that I took. Then the basic thing that I would love for anyone that comes, across my path is understanding the basics, understanding the basics and working on fun, and really mastering the basics of the base, right? We always think it's a shot, but it all starts with my base. And once you work your way up, the foundation has to be right before we move on to the next step. Like building a house, the foundation.
Just like building the house, man.
It's not going to be sound if the base is not right.
I use that one all the time. Can't build a house on a foundation made of sand or a cracked foundation. Brother, I'm so happy you were able to make this work. Thank you so much for jumping on the show today. That was a freaking blast. Before I let you go for the weekend, we got to tell everybody the answers to the questions that I ask you. Like I told you, I ask every guest I've ever interviewed, who's your favorite movie or TV show character? What's your favorite movie or TV show? And what's your favorite musical instrument? And who's the artist you'd like to hear play it? So without further ado, you said you're a big Samuel L. Jackson fan, as I am as well. And your favorite character of his is Lucius Best, also known as Frozone from The Incredibles. I thought that was a great answer. Never gotten that one before. I love it. And it made me think. It made me think of Samuel L. Jackson from my end of things. Like I think this was his first movie too. I always think of Coming to America, where he's the guy that comes in and sticks up the place. It's so good. It's Logan the engineer says, "Where's my super suit?" He loves that type of stuff. Loves it. So I asked you your favorite movie, and you proceeded to rattle off every movie ever created. So I'm going to shorten the list a little bit. You said Blow, great one. You said Scarface. I'm starting to see a theme here of crazy cocaine dealers. But Paid in Full, you also said that was an interesting one. And then you got into the area of the movie world that I thought you were going to get into, which you said Above the Rim. So got any basketball movie that's got Tupac in it, how bad could it possibly be, right? But then you got to He Got Game. I thought that was going to be in there somewhere. I was thinking Space Jam too, especially because you mentioned Michael Jordan, and we're talking cartoons along the way here. But Space Jam, totally cool. But He Got Game. That was the big one that really got everything moving. That's when you were like, oh, He Got Game. That's what it's got to be. But musical instrument wise, you said the trumpet, which my brother played the trumpet for a brief stint back in the day. You said you did too. You said Miles Davis, obviously a wonderful trumpet player in his own right. Also Louis Armstrong. What a wonderful world, baby. I love it. And dude, those are fantastic answers. I don't know who's beeping if it's me or if it's you. There's sounds like the.
I'm important today, my son. I'm almost throwback. Look at all the movies I just mentioned. I still got a two-way beeper on me, so apologies about that, guys.
There's no worries at all. Coach Keith, a pleasure to have you here once again. Great to meet you. Look forward to continuing all of our conversations, especially if I can get your butt down here to watch my girls play basketball.
I'm there. You can count on me. I'm there. Say something, I'm doing it. Trust me.
Thank you so much for joining us on Always Friday, everyone. We hope you gained some weekend insight to make that Monday impact. Have a great weekend. We will see you next Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, right here on talkradio.nyc. Bye-bye, everybody.